just not sure that Kyler Murray is big enough. This is Tom Brady. He's not just going to retire. Whitey, big fan of the show. Appreciate
I've got
Ryan Murphy to my left, making sure everything's smooth, crispy, buttery. James Harden is systematically ruining the game of basketball. He's the most overrated player.
And there you
I've
are,
ever
the
seen.
Chicago Bears with a
Open
championship
season.
defense.
And
Mitch,
I'm sure Dancing
this
with the Stars is happy to have Antonio back. If you thought you were going to get Zion, that's your bad.
You are now listening to Open Season. Your host, Billy Allen.
And away we go. It's another Tuesday. Billy Allen up in here. Justin is not with us this week. We are joined by the lovely Sean Carnell. Sean, how you doing?
Good, how are you? Thank you for watching, tuning in.
Sean Carnell from Evolve Network. We're happy to have him with us. We're going to be prancing around the sports landscape this evening, talking about what do you want to see the Patriots do in the draft? Is Stidham your guy? Would you take a flyer on somebody like Cam Newton or the Red Rocket? Talking about the all-decade team. The NFL just released it. You talking about any of those top names? Anybody surprise you? Calvin Johnson. Feel like he's been out of the league so long. And was this the best Hall of Fame class yet in the NBA? Michael Wilbon thinks no. We'll get into some sound from him as we talk about some of the new MLB rules, the NFL. But first off, we want to talk about the upcoming draft, the Patriots, and we actually have a little bit of sound from our friend Bert Breer on the Patriots and kind of what they're going to do before I ask you, Sean, what you want to do.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised, Colin, if they draft one too. Just based on the premise that you throw darts at the dartboard, and I think you can kind of line it up with what Seattle did a decade ago when they went through Matt Flynn and Charlie Whitehurst and Boris Jackson before they hit on Russell Wilson. That was the philosophy there. Just keep drafting them. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if New England winds up taking, say, a Jake Fromm in the third round if you were to fall to them. And I think really the overall idea, the global idea here, they're in a tough spot financially right now. Their cap is a little bit of a mess. And they really did go all in the last few years to keep a champion together. And so, I think they want to come out of 2020 with clean financials. They're carrying a $13.5 million dead cap hit for Brady this year.
Yes.
I think the idea is to create that sort of advantage for yourself going into 2021 where maybe you've got the quarterback on the roster if it's Stidham, a draft pick, or, you've got the freedom to go and get one in 2021 with much cleaner financials in the younger team.
So there you hear it from Bert Breer, a guy who's pretty plugged in with the Patriots. Sounds like he really wants to strip down and, kind of reset for the Patriots. And he likes the idea that Seattle did where they just kept drafting running backs. I remember when they had Matt Flynn, they had just signed him to that 3-year, $19 million deal.
Guaranteed for that one good game against the Pats on
Pete
Monday Night
Carroll
Football.
takes exactly. That
That's
was
why I was
like
smiling.
Talk about that. But I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean,
I would draft. That's why I was smiling, because when he said Matt Flynn, I'm like, yeah, and that was such a colossal waste of money for a backup. Literally the next year, he went to fight for the job, and then he doesn't get the job.
He'd bring him in, and then you start a third round quarterback in Russell Wilson. At the time, I mean, it was just so unprecedented, but obviously it worked. And Bert Breer talking about how he thinks that that's what the Patriots should do. I got to ask you, do you think Stidham is a guy that can lead, maybe not this year, but do you think Stidham is a guy that you can be confident in moving forward as a quarterback prospect for this team?
You got to look at it both ways, right? So you got to cut out who you're listening to, right? So what are we listening to? We're listening to some updates where you're hearing former players because he was groomed, as the practice squad guy, to really challenge players, whatever. And then, he's the next guy. We love him. He's great. He's on point. Are they just saying that now because they have to? I think that possibly they are. I think that they should ride it out. They should see what he can do this year. I would not take Cam Newton. You do not want that headache. Who was the other one?
Would you take
the Red Rocket? No.
Okay.
captain interception. I'm sorry. If he doesn't have AJ Green with 9-foot long arms to go get it, then I'm sorry. He's just gonna it's gonna be Colt. Whatever. I just don't see him. Who was the other one?
I mean, Jameis Winston. Would you take him?
Nah, his days in the NFL are over.
The only thing about him is he comes in as a pretty refined passer when he came into the NFL. And you just think about if Belichick would ever take a chance on a guy like that. I definitely happen to think no. I think Belichick wants a guy that's not going to throw that many turnovers. I think he's definitely more in the way of that. They had something that came out the other day about it was like what Belichick valued in a quarterback years ago when he was with the Browns, and like the number one thing was like decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that doesn't translate to you're going to draft Jameis Winston. Because decision making.
No.
I mean, the guy didn't even realize that he couldn't see correctly.
Well,
I mean, the guy had corrective vision surgery in the offseason. I mean, how do you even play through that?
Hey, Coach, I can't see. I know I threw 3 interceptions last week, but get me the surgery.
Yeah. He'll only throw 27 once he has the surgery.
I heard someone with the analogy back in the day, Jeff George. Jeff George, great. Could throw the best ball that you ever saw. Hardest pass. Dumb as a box of rocks. So, is Belichick going to lean towards what? Average player, highly intelligent, as opposed to superstar athlete that's a complete meathead? He's going to take the average player who's very intelligent.
You actually have a pretty good point there, too, with Belichick. He got a year of Bledsoe, and he had the big arm. Bledsoe, another guy that can, quote-unquote, make all the throws, but is also going to make all those back-breaking interceptions. And he only played with him for 18 games. So, and obviously you had heard rumors actually before that season that they were going to play, that maybe he was thinking about maybe moving Brady into the, over Bledsoe before that season started. So, it does go to speak that Belichick probably isn't going to be looking at a guy like Jameis Winston. But
who's the last guy I did that with? The Razorbacks guy, Mallet.
We actually have a little sound from Shannon Sharp talking about Cam Newton, and let's think about this a little bit. It's him making a case for Cam Newton on the Pats.
Skip.
How many people said the very same thing, that Randy Moss and Coach Belichick could not work? If Randy had brought the same behavior that he exhibited in Minnesota the last couple of years, what he had taken to Oakland and brought that to New England, how would that have worked out? But Randy understood, how many more opportunities am I going to get? So he got to New England, and he conformed to what the Patriot way, so to speak. I believe Cam would do that. Cam, you have to understand, Skip, when you're without a job, maybe I had a job, Skip, that I wore a T-shirt. Well, I got relieved of my duty on that job. Now, the next job requires me to wear a shirt and tie. Well, I ain't wearing no shirt and tie. The last 10 years, I've been wearing a T-shirt. Skip, you conform. You're looking for occupation. You're looking for work, gainful employment. So obviously, Cam would have to modify. And if he's unwilling to modify, well, he wouldn't have a job. But I do believe Cam would understand some of the antics that he displayed in Carolina is not going to fly in New England. He understands that. And I believe Cam would be willing to conform. It's easy to say, well, this wouldn't work, that wouldn't work. But they said the very same thing about Randy Moss and Coach Belichick. And Randy worked his tail off because we saw plays in Oakland, we saw plays in Minnesota, that he'd lasted one day in Coach Belichick in New England had he exhibited that type of behavior and that type of effort.
So, how about that?
That was a good take.
How about that? Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. If you don't like some of those quarterbacks, does that do anything to soften you up at all? Do you think Cam would ever? This is a guy who they say he takes fashion kind of in the same grain that he takes football. It's like I can't see this guy getting along with Belichick, and he's such a superior talent. But I think, quite frankly, he's done. I don't think we're going to see those MVP caliber years out of Cam Newton. I think he's taken the hits. I think he's a lot different quarterback than he was the first couple of years he was in the league, and certainly when he was an MVP quarterback. I think he can't make a lot of the easy throws, and he doesn't really have his running ability anymore. So it's, he's kind of getting narrowed down, and he's a guy who looks at his first read a lot, and if he can't hit that,
that's it. And then he's gonna run, and then if he's getting blitzed, then he's screwed. I don't think he's gonna. He wouldn't. I don't think he'd be. I think he still has talent. I think he's still. I'd pick him over most starting quarterbacks. Some that are out there now, some that are out, some that are starting positions, and some that are available. I just don't think that those two mindsets would gel. And I also think, like you said, he's not as mobile, right? So I know that every team can play everywhere in the league, but if you're up here living, guess what, bud? You're a little sore. Your arthritis is going to be creeping in. You're going to get a little bit slower. If you're not used to playing in this environment, when it starts to get cold for like months on end and you're playing home games, I don't see him lasting. I think he's got probably 2 years left in him with an organization that's stupid enough to throw a lot of guaranteed money that isn't going to go anywhere.
Do you think that's a team like the Chargers? Because the only thing I'll say is they have Tyrod Taylor, and they've got to go into that stadium and try to sell tickets. Now, will they actually get into a stadium and sell tickets? That's a whole other thing at this point in time.
That's what they're going with?
To go with Tyrod Taylor, I just think that is so tough to sell to your fans. There are so many. I mean, you could arguably say Tyrod Taylor's like the 45th best quarterback in the NFL, probably, right?
I mean,
like,
did you even just remember watching him before Johnny came up behind him? You could tell those last couple games, he had a couple bad games before, a couple picks. You could just tell the way he was playing. He was playing like defensive throws and stuff like that. Like, shit, I don't want to screw this up. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have any of that confidence. When he got hurt, it was like, yep, that was easy.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, with that being said, the Patriots have the 23rd pick in the first round. Highest we've taken in some time. What do you want to see them do in the first round?
What do I want to see them do, or are they going to continue to do the trade?
Well, what they're going to continue to do is disappoint. If you're hoping for somebody other than like a guard or, I mean, you're not going to get what you want here. It's not going to be an offensive possession, but.
I mean, I guess the trade-off is we've gotten to enjoy championships and parades. I can only imagine what it's like for draft day for other teams, because for us, it's like, okay.
Well, the Pats haven't even taken draft day. This is why they're in kind of such the situation they are. They're up against the cap and everything. It's because they really haven't had a lot of good drafts in the past few years. And arguably, you got to say that they've got to hit on a lot of picks in this draft for their team to be pretty good. Like, usually it's, okay, we get this guy, win, we can take him along. This year, they're going to need some guys to play. I mean, there's going to be a lot of fresh blood, and they're going to need to get some impact picks. So, there's no excuses for some of the Joe Juwan Williams or some of those other guys that we've taken in the second round. We seem to have terrible second rounds always, but they've really got to hit, and I'd like to see them come out and take a linebacker. I think we need a linebacker in the first round.
Really?
I don't know if they'll actually do it. I think we need another linebacker, or, I don't think they're going to take a quarterback there, but I would like to see them take another quarterback, probably like in the third round.
They keep talking about the kid.
They worked out some kid. I forget his name. He
very
wasn't
smart, right? That's why they like him. Big kid, not huge. What the heck was his? I can't remember his name.
I forget what his name was too, but I
Bynum,
remember they were talking about some guy that they liked, but he threw like 21 touchdown passes as like a junior, and then like only 14 as like a senior or something like that.
They liked him because they compared when they do the interviews. They compared his interview, said it was the best interview that they had. It was like when they interviewed Russell Wilson. I was like, oh, cool.
Oh,
I think they should. I think they should go for a quarterback. I think they're gonna roll out Stidham. Who's his backup?
His backup is
Brian Hoyer day passed, right?
Brian Hoyer. It's Brian Hoyer.
They signed
Wow.
The day I knew the day that they.
He spent his third tour with the team.
I mean, it's a safe blanket.
Honestly, I don't even think it's that safe of a blanket. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, what do you expect out of Brian Hoyer at this point? I expect him to like hand off a lot. Like, he's not. He's just there because he's so familiar with the offense. It's easy to just chuck him in there.
Well, that's what I mean. He knows the offense, but like we are screwed in offense this year. You know what I mean? But then again, the Colts. What do you think about Rivers?
I think that's an awful pick. Awful. And I think you have to go for Tom Brady if you're the Colts. There's no excuse. They went for the old quarterback. They paid the money, and they weren't even in on the Tom Brady discussions. I think that is disgusting. And I think the fact that they paid Phillip Rivers for 1 year in Indy, $25 million, they are going to sorely – they're going to regret that. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, he's probably not the guy. As much as I want him to be the guy, he's like a hard worker.
For that much money, though?
It looks like he looks like he's all right, but –
For Rivers, like, what do you do? That guy, like, you could be on the other team and be excited, like, as the defense. Oh,
you're
playing
gonna be
Phillip, I might get a touchdown pass today.
And now that he's aging too, I mean, he threw so many picks last year, and it's like L.A. that's had him forever is like washing their hands clean of him, and the Colts are just like, yep, we'll take him over
I think
here.
he was driving his way out the door when they did the stadium change, and he was still living and driving with a laptop. It's like, dude, relax. You're part of the. Be here.
He
with
was
the team.
commuting like 3 hours a day, like each way or something, to be with his 100 kids. I think he actually has 10 kids.
Like, I know
something
it's like up to 8. I think.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And with one woman, so that's something you can usually never say in sports. But Phillip Rivers, I didn't think we'd be talking about him tonight, but
Nope.
I don't know. What are some of the other quarterback signings that you liked or didn't? What do you think Brady's going to do? That's a good thing. I haven't got to talk to you about any of this, so this is all good.
Listening to some of the scuttlebutt, on other networks, whatever that we do, whether it's online or on the radio, seeing how he's acted in the past, I think he's going to go down there and remain the professional that he is, and he doesn't care who his receiver is here or there in a new spot. I think a lot of it had to do with just the butt and the heads here, and I think he's going to go down there and have fun.
Yeah.
As long as he has a good O-line, I think he's actually going to – I think if you see him starting to do good in the first 2 games, you'll see a lot of Pats fans tuning into the Tampa Bay games like, I'm sorry. I'm going to be watching what he does because I'm interested in it.
I don't think there are going to be many people that don't watch what Tampa Bay does, even if they don't admit it, just to see what Brady does. I think there's so much interest. Whether you get yourself to root for him, and I'm going to root for him, I can say that, but I know some people will be like, but I won't root for him or whatever, but you'll probably consume every minute and, secretly be rooting. But
you you will. You will.
How could you not? And how can you not want to see what happens here? Was it Belichick or was it Brady? And the clock is ticking. They both don't have a lot of time. And
for me, that conversation is over for me. It's as simple as this. The guy did 20 years at a top level, the best in his game for 20 years, in a league where the average is 3 years.
Yeah.
That's, impressive. I don't care who you're playing for.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick's still playing. That guy.
No, he can't just
it.
always point to the rings. I mean, even since it was 4 rings, he could always just kind of point to the rings. And then he just did a couple more. I mean, it's just like he has set things that are so far out there that the only way he can challenge himself is to play till he's 45. And, that's really the way that he's kind of always motivated himself since he won those championships. It's like, all right, I'll play till 45 because that's the only thing I haven't checked off is being pretty good as a quarterback for age 45, which is going to be tough, but I can still see him doing it. But the only thing is he's going to get hit a lot more on Tampa Bay than he ever did in a Josh McDaniels offense.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot more chucking down the field, a lot more vertical.
You got Mike Evans still there?
Mike Evans is still there, yeah.
But you know what? I don't think his body will take a dump like Kurt Schillin's did when he retired. I think at least Tom's his thing is stay in shape. Kurt was video games and Twinkie and bankrupt a whole state, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that'll be next.
When baseball comes back.
Well, baseball actually has some pretty interesting rules. I don't know if you saw kind of what the rules are going to be for the upcoming year that they've actually proposed, but they're talking about an electronic strike zone.
What?
Can't get together with people on the mound.
At
So
all?
these are all things that are going to speed the game up and actually make it somewhat tolerable. 7-inning doubleheaders. They're going to mic up the players, and they're going to be quarantined in Arizona. Or that is a proposed area that
I did hear that, yeah.
So could you sell that to your wife that you were going to go away for 4.5 months, quarantined, to pick a paycheck?
I've actually, something was recently offered to me like a couple months ago. So, yeah, but it's a long time. But it's different for me to answer. Like, I don't have millions in a Maserati and a helicopter. I can go from here
You'd
to
go
there.
pick it up,
Yeah,
if you did.
I'm going to be waving down the Uber or taking a taxi,
Yeah, so I think it's interesting that ever since the
Miking the players up is good. The electronic strike zone is going to piss somebody off at some point. And nobody can meet them on the manager to hook anybody or the catcher.
I'm pretty sure they were talking about this thing that would invalidate this personal space they're trying to allow players. Like they said that players will actually sit in the stands 6 feet apart.
Okay.
So not like the bleacher or not like the dugout. They're actually going to be in the stands, six rows apart. Or
I'm
whatever
sorry.
is what the proposed.
I love all sports, even curling. I mean, but baseball is that one sport for me. Too many games. It's too much to watch. It's already kind of boring. I'll tell you what, I watch.
And then with no fans.
Yeah, playoff baseball, every game, every series, you got it. Lead up to that, the knockouts, everything. I'm paying attention end of the season. Regular season, that's
Did you watch any of, speaking of games in front of no fans, did you watch any of WrestleMania this weekend? That was
weird.
It was atrocious.
John Cena.
Yeah. John Cena is getting old, and
somebody slipped him some mushrooms or something.
That was a weird. So I mean, the way that they had the entire fight, I thought it was way too Hollywood. Both of them were way too scripted, and it was when the Fiend won against Cena, I was we were all just he won. I was zooming with some of my friends, and we were just that's it. It just seemed like a bad dream, and then they call it
fans in wrestling. That's what makes wrestling.
I mean, Gronk won the 24/7 belt, and he didn't even have a crowd there to welcome him. That is the biggest shame.
It was a crappy looking belt too.
And Gronk is the worst actor. He is.
You said it.
He's so bad at he's not going to be good at. I don't really know if he's going to have a future in wrestling because he is so bad at he is too cheesy, and it's for him to have a gimmick, what is he going to do? The Gronk spike, and it's just I can see him being such a gimmick.
He's tried a couple
that nobody really likes his wrestling persona. Apparently, he's going to work until SummerSlam and try to debut something there, but Gronk is just, I don't know.
I wish he didn't.
He cannot act.
I wish he didn't try that.
And I think in wrestling you need some semblance.
Yeah, but if you see some of his other stuff where he's actually talking about certain topics and he's not joking around, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
But then he goes back to the goofy Gronk, and it's you try to do wilding out. His jokes are horrible. He tried to do with the Fox stuff, and it was just
Yeah.
And whoever dressed him up in that turtleneck, that person should be fired.
His dad's suit. Sometimes it looked a little
I
too
was
big.
what is he wearing? Jeez. Whoever did his hair too is whatever. It was just bad. Yeah, I mean, I think if you gave him a script and he could try doing a line 45 times, but that'll probably get old for directors.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'd still want to party with him though.
I would too,
for sure.
So we have, quite possibly the best Hall of Fame class ever. And, we got Kevin Garnett, who obviously was huge to the Celtics region. And you got Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant. And I really can't remember, a better Hall of Fame class. I think we actually have a little bit of sound from, Michael Wilbon that talks about, I think you said the 09 class with Jordan, Stockton, and someone else.
Is it great just because of Jordan, though? I want to hear what he says.
Yeah.
And Kevin Garnett. You study this kind of stuff. Is this the best class ever?
Tony, it's a wonderful class. It is a wonderful class. And Tony, it has... I shouldn't say more significance, but I'm going to say more significance because of the presence of Kobe Bryant. And it's just amazing. And I hope that the last Friday in August, as scheduled, but whenever it happens, the induction. And it's amazing. But I don't really know that I feel that it's the greatest class because there was a class in 2009 that had 3 Dream Teamers on it, the greatest actual team ever assembled with Michael Jordan, David Robinson, John Stockton, and for me, a heroic person in Jerry Sloan. And so am I going to say that any class ever is better than that class? There have been some terrific classes, Tony, But I find it hard to put anybody above, and God knows, again, Kobe and Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett, that's a showstopper. But that 2009 class, I don't know how you get better than that. You go into the glass.
I'm sorry. I'm taking.
Yeah, the 09 class, you're taking it?
No, I'm not taking it. Only because, and I loved them. It was actually my two favorite teams when I was younger, with Phoenix Suns and other than the Celtics, the Utah Jazz. But it's just because I don't think if you put those three, Stockton doesn't outweigh either one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was Robinson, Stockton,
the Admiral. No. So you had Stockton, the Admiral, and was it Jordan?
And Jordan.
Jordan. So you got Jordan and Robinson right there. It's like, so that takes out Duncan and Kobe for me. I'm sorry.
So you're going the 09 team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. This one.
Oh, you're going this one? Oh,
yeah.
You said it takes out
Garnett and Kobe.
I thought you were saying they knocked out.
No, the 3 against 3.
Gotcha.
So I'm saying, so like Stockton's the weak link.
Stockton's the weak link. Okay.
Used to feed the mailman.
No. I mean, it's a tough argument. That one is like as close as you're going to get. I mean, for me, I think Kevin Garnett is honestly responsible for keeping a lot of jobs here. Like, you look at no, and I mean it. If they want to stimulate the economy, bring back Kevin Garnett, because he had if you look at some of these coaches, you look at Doc Rivers, and if you look at Danny Ainge, both of these guys, they only have a title in 08, but they're looked at as like pretty much the top of their profession. Every player wants to play with Doc. Look what Paul George was willing to do. He was willing to murder the Thunder franchise to play with Doc. And, players just kind of have this thing. Chris Paul and all those guys joined up with him. So it's just always like Doc's this player coach. He's great, but he's only got one championship. And, Danny Ainge has only got one championship. And I wonder a lot of times if these guys get the praise that they should, and they wouldn't have any of this. I mean, think about how different things would be if the ping pong balls fell a little bit differently. We got the 5th pick, who turned out to be Jeff Green, instead of number 1 pick that year was Greg Oden. Number 2 was Durant.
Do you remember who we gave away? We had this pick. He's in this 3 versus 3. Duncan, right?
We didn't give away Duncan. No. We
had a play in the Duncan hand.
In 1996, they had 2 ping pong balls like in the top of the draft or whatever, but they weren't able to get Duncan. Like, they just bounced the wrong way.
I thought they traded.
They did.
I'll have to look at that. I just remember something being.
They traded Chauncey Billups 51 games into his career, which was another great move by.
Worked out.
No, it worked out for them, the Pistons.
Yeah.
So another great move by. Who was the terrible coach over there? Rick Pitino. Pitino, another terrible move from him. But imagine that if you had a point guard that was averaging like 11.5, I think it was 11.5 points and like 6.5 assists through their rookie year, and just trade them 51 games in.
I agree with you, but I disagree for one point, because I think the NBA started to get a little twisted, and the lottery is still a huge play in that league more than any others, I think. Because NFL, they're not really playing right away unless you're a quarterback superstar, and then you're still going to suck. Figure it out. But NBA, you can go in that league and start. I think when they started doing the big threes and allowing those major contracts, I think it didn't matter if you got that lottery ball. I think when you were allowed to stack teams, that's when it's like, okay,
yeah,
they got to shift some stuff around, because the teams with the money and the big threes are just going to keep whooping house on the lower teams.
I know. Well, that seems to be what's happening today. I mean, you just look at every team that's good. They pretty much have 3 top guys that they're paying the max to. Clippers are going to be close. I mean, they're like pretty much every team that is competitive in the NBA, they're always like over the salary cap. You never see a team that like wins the championship. You're never like, oh, wow, that team was over the salary cap. Like, they're always over the salary cap, I feel like, if you're a championship winning team, so it's definitely about having those top 3.
Unless you're the Raptors, right? Who's your big 3? Who's your all-time?
I mean, I think it's this class, because I think it's more guys that I got to actually see play. I mean, I didn't see as much Stockton and as much Robinson. I mean, I saw plenty of them, but I kind of saw them past their prime. So for me to kind of see Kobe, Tim Duncan, and see them all go through their career, I mean, it's been good.
So I was listening to that argument too.
We got a phone call? All right, let's take it. Hi, you're live with you're live with Open Season. Who do we got?
Yeah, this is Eddy B. What's up, guys?
Eddy B. What's going on, pal?
Dude, Kevin Garnett's the most overrated player of all time.
Most overrated player of all time.
Yes. How
So
many
he's got
playoffs
15,
how many?
15 All-Stars. How many
Yeah.
All-NBAs? Defensive Player of the Year, MVP.
How many championships did he win before he came to Boston and rode the coattails of Ray Allen and Paul Pierce?
He rode the coattails?
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
And
He led.
Rondo, who was the real MVP of that team.
Oh, please stop. He led that team. He galvanized that team. That
Dude,
team
Garnett
averaged.
used to get teed up by freaking Duncan, dude. He couldn't do anything against Duncan when he was in Minnesota. He had good teams in Minnesota, and he couldn't win.
He had
was
good
on a team
teams
with
in
Sam
Minnesota.
Cassell
He had like Terrell
Yeah,
Brandon
he wasn't-
and Latrell Sprewell.
and Wally Serbiak, who was actually pretty good.
Oh,
at the time.
Wally, you're going to use that as a plus? That guy is the type
Kevin
of guy who
Garnett-
gave
Kevin
up like
Garnett was-
35 points a night.
He's a loser. No offense.
Kevin Garnett's a loser.
Yes, he's soft as it comes.
He's soft. Oh, is this?
Yes, dude, yes.
This
dude,
goes
dude,
back
he's
to the
not-
New York stuff.
I'm telling you, when he was in Boston, I hated him coming to Boston because I'll tell you what, we traded who I think was a better player than Garnett to get Garnett here.
Who?
You're gonna say Al Jefferson is a
Yes,
better?
Oh my God,
I
dude.
thought Al Jefferson was a lot.
He
better
was
than
very
Garnett.
good for this unit, but that was the second you got
What
him
are
out
you
of here. You were
talking
bringing in
about?
a better player.
He was so slow. He only played till he was like 30. Also, I mean, he was not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you lost me on that one.
I'm just telling you how I'm telling you. I tell it like I see it. Let me tell you.
I think Kevin Garnett's the second most impactful Celtic since Larry Bird.
Oh my God, dude!
Who-
Get out of here.
Who's had a bigger impact on? Who's had a
They
bigger?
won the championship that year.
Rondo? Are you, dude?
Yes,
Rondo was the
yes,
fourth
dude,
guy.
Rondo was the quarterback of that team.
He was the fourth guy. It was only his second year. All he had to do
So
was
he
average.
dominated.
He did
Dude,
not
that
dominate.
series
He averaged like
against
6 points.
That series against the Bulls, he single-handedly won that series for us.
I would say Bill
What are you
Russell.
talking about?
Red Auerbach are the two more influential.
He had a good series in the Bull
He
series.
averaged
for
almost
sure.
a triple-double, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, well, is that good or no?
that's good. Yes, but I mean, you're gonna literally say that he was better than Kevin Garnett?
I mean, he went up against that pussy Derrick Rose.
Oh my God!
Why? Because he's got Swiss cheese knees?
Never
don't
saw
like-
someone with so much.
You're gonna hate
will
on
in my
Derrick
life.
Rose. What are you gonna hate on babies next? What's
Well, I'm just saying, dude.
Derrick
Yeah.
Rose? There's
Derrick
like
Rose-
not a single guy who's rooting against Derrick Rose this year. He's like ruined his knees and he's having like a 20-point a game season, and you're rooting against this guy.
Yeah.
What is so bad about him? Everybody knows what he is at this point in his career. No one's overrating him.
He's coming off the bench.
So what else is going on? Corona affecting you guys or what?
Oh my God! Are you? Did you want to talk about wrestling at all? We talked for like a second, but I mean that was awful. Both of those fights. The main fights.
it was pretty terrible.
You think it was because the crowd wasn't there, or you think it was just terrible in general?
Well, I think the problem is they scripted something that's scripted.
Right?
Yeah, and I was surprised that if they scripted it so much that they didn't change some of the outcomes. Like the fights weren't that good.
It's okay if it's cheesy, but when there's extra cheese on it, it's like, eh.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. But I'll tell you what, though, I came up with a couple ideas for the NBA and baseball. What they should do when they come back. The NBA should honestly just do a pay-per-view tournament where they have single elimination over 4 or 5 days, and let that be the champion. And just
They honestly
make
trend
their
towards
revenue
something
back
like
that year. What's that?
They honestly may trend towards something like that. Like with some of the things that I feel like Mark Cuban has said, I feel like they could maybe do something like that, a tournament. But do you think they'd do a tournament for all the stakes? You know, like for the championship?
Yeah, they could just put an asterisk up. Or who? No one cares anyway. I mean, the NBA is garbage since LeBron ruined it anyway. So they could at least make it exciting, you know.
So you don't put any stock in the team that's in first or whatever?
I like this caller.
Nah, who cares?
Oh, God. So,
it'd be pretty cool, though. Don't you think it'd be pretty cool, though, to see, like, you know, the 1 seed versus the 16 or whatever and see, you know.
But I think the 16 seed would get slaughtered. That's the thing. In one game.
In a one game, dude, maybe not. It'd be actually more exciting.
I feel like the 1 versus 8 is always like a sweep. Like, in the 2 versus 7
when you play 5
is like
games, dude.
Let me correlate.
When you have one game, you know.
It's winner take all.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. So let me correlate. So today,
which can usually be the number 1 seed winning, but
you know how like stuff comes up in your feed. You know, you shared this or whatever on this day, whatever. So what showed up in my feed today? I'm a fight fan. This goes to sports. I'm a huge UFC fan. Watch UFC all the time. I do watch the videos before the fight, after the smack talk. It's just like what I'm into. On this day in 2007, I believe, Matt Serra knocked out George St. Pierre after winning the UFC reality show The Comeback, and everyone thought he was going to lose, and then took the title. It doesn't matter if you're the 16th seed. Any given day. As the movie, any given Sunday, right?
Oh, God.
Come on. Any given
all right.
day.
We're into cliche hour here on the program.
I'm just saying.
Eddie, so you don't put any stuff, like you don't give, like we give credit to LeBron for doing like 7 years in Cleveland on that terrible team. Kevin Garnett did 13 years in that prison in Minnesota, and you don't give him any credit for being on a team without the personnel. You think like in today's day where all these guys move around, he clearly would have made a couple teams where he won a championship, I think, in all the moving around. And so you don't think that has anything to do with his legacy?
No, I mean he jumped on, like I said, he rode the coattails of Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, dude, and Rondo. You gotta win on your own. I mean, that's all there is to it. You gotta be able to win on your own, and he couldn't do that.
But you think that Rondo could win on his own?
Yeah, I love Rondo.
Oh, come on!
You just lost us there. Oh. No way. That
was
a
hard swallow. He obviously needs the players to be around him. He's not, Shaquille O'Neal. But, Rondo as a point, first off, you can't win when the point guard is your best player. That just can't happen. It's never happened.
Yeah, that's why Kevin Garnett was the best player.
But he wasn't. Paul Pierce was the best player on that team.
Rondo
was the MVP, but Paul Pierce was the star of that team. Garnett was the tag along.
Rondo was a little baby that they had to keep in check.
I mean, that team averaged 8.3 steals a game because everyone could gamble because they knew that Garnett was going to be back there. He won Defensive Player of the Year his first year. Like, I don't see how you can chalk that up as nothing. He came over here and won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, he got Paul Pierce to play. He got Paul Pierce to play defense. You think Al Jefferson was getting Paul Pierce to play defense?
No, he was in line at the cafeteria.
Yeah, I do. I think
Paul Pierce hadn't played defense
for a couple guys on the team that can play.
He hadn't played defense for a couple of years before Kevin Garnett came there. I mean, I was watching a game the other day, and they were even talking about like how good Pierce was at defense during that like 2008. But anyway, he probably just picked up defense on his own.
Before you know it, we'll be talking about how Eddie House and Brian Scalabrine were like, the heart and soul of that team. And
so, is this the most impressive?
The reason that we won that, the reason that we beat Cleveland was not because of Garnett, and it wasn't because of Paul Pierce, and it wasn't because of Rondo, and it wasn't because of Ray Allen. It was because James Posey did the fuck out of LeBron.
Oh my God,
dude, that's true. That's the only reason they got Posey was to D up LeBron.
Yeah, off the bench.
Dude, Posey dominated LeBron. Every time he was in the game, dude, he wore LeBron down. Go look it up.
I've looked it up. The only bad series that LeBron had was that one against the Mavericks that I can still never understand how he averaged 17 points across that 6-game series.
So we had the leg cramp.
That was the worst. That was the most embarrassing. They should be ashamed of themselves for losing that one. That was the only one that I've seen.
By the way, if they played that one game tournament, the Lakers would be playing Golden State. You're telling me Golden State with a healthy Steph Curry and Draymond Green can't beat LeBron's Lakers in one game?
They look like junk this year. I don't know.
If they get hot for one game, I mean, you're just going to do this like
that's all you got to do.
Yeah, but you're diluting everything like at the risk of this like one game. I mean, I don't know.
What else are they going to do? They can't play 40 more games, dude.
No, I think that's good. I'm just wondering if you think they would actually do that for the championship. I wonder if they would. But
they have to do something.
They do.
They're not, I was reading
They're doing video game tournaments, right? Didn't they do that the other day?
Well, they said the U.S. government is going to lose $400 million in tax revenue if the NBA doesn't play the rest of the year.
Yeah, it seems like there's a bit more momentum behind the teams coming back. Like, you started to hear these things about the rules about the MLB, what might be allowed, and they seem to think that they may be able...
Well, Major League Baseball is the easiest one because all they have to do is get 15 stadiums, quarantine 2 teams. They play 18 games against each other anyway, and just let them play 18 games in a row against each other, and then just rotate the teams.
Because then there's no thought process in coaching to beat you the next time because you're just rolling through your players.
Dude, who cares? It's about entertainment.
Fans do.
Who cares?
It's about entertaining. There's gonna be no fans there anyway.
Yeah, if you pay $20 million to see a player, you want to have your kid go see him play.
But you're not gonna pay $20 million. I mean, there's no fans aren't gonna be allowed. They just gotta do whatever they can to get on the field.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do it for a while, man. I think people are hopeful, wishing.
Eddie, did you like any of the? Did you like those proposed changes, like from the MLB, the electronic strike zone, the 7-inning doubleheaders, miking up the players?
No, of course not, dude.
You don't like that? It's gonna speed the game up so much. It's gonna make it actually consumable.
But I like the game. I want it to last as long as possible.
Why?
Because there's a human element.
Because I love the game. Because I love the game of baseball.
It's also entertaining when there's royal.
You want a game to last 5 hours?
Yes. When I go to a game, I don't want it to be over. I want it to last as long as it can.
I like the human element because I like there are good things out of mistakes. You know what I mean? Like you can have people talking about how many of us were talking about that Megatron catch after, and then hey, we got to change the rule. It's like, damn. So you know what I mean? The Saints game.
I still don't get. How is that not a catch?
Oh, dude, it was a catch.
I could watch it a million times.
Yeah, me too.
He catches it and authoritatively puts it down. And they're like, no.
Can I tell you, I've never gotten the thought process of people that like something, but they want it to get over. I've never heard, I love this. When the fuck is it over? Who does that? It's so weird.
It's just
I've never been banging a hot chick and I'm like, God, I can't wait for this to be over.
Yeah, you're not going to want it to go 5
hours.
No, you don't. I know you don't.
Yes, no, I do. Dude, I go to a game, I want extra innings. I want a rain delay. I want people leaving. I want to move up to the good seats. Dude, I love being there. You know what takes forever?
I just find it hard to believe you like being there for that much time.
Yes, dude, I love it, dude. I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. I love everything about it.
Never sat next to someone shitty. Wanted to elbow them in the face.
What are your kids' batting averages right now?
Dude, my kids have been dominating on the front lawn. Hopefully baseball comes back because it's the only way we're going to get out of the hood. Get them signed to a deal.
Well, hey, man, we appreciate you calling in and making us laugh.
Thank you.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, later, Eddie.
Sean Rondo. I was like,
you could hear him swallow a little bit too.
Nope.
You can't get that one past.
No, but side note, right now we'd be watching playoff hockey today.
That's right. Playoffs would have started today.
My heart sunk when I was like...
There's so many days like that just kill you. It's like March Madness would have been, it's like people are like, oh, the Final Four would have been today. Yeah. I'm like, don't tell me that, all right? Just let me get past it.
Yep. Hockey playoff is like 2 months of living, you know?
Totally.
Gone.
Totally. Ugh.
So, speaking of ridiculous sports things that people are doing to get back quickly. Dana White has secured a private island. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. You know why he did it?
Because he's going to quarantine everyone there and
I think it could be
create Arizona in that little island.
I think Khabib Nurmagomedov, I think he precipitated it. So the fight that's supposed to go on between him and Tony Ferguson is supposed to happen 5 times over the last 4 or 5 years already. Blown knee surgery, pull out, don't feel good, whatever, right? Tony actually had a knee injury. I think Khabib's been ducking him. A lot of people do. And so now you got this quarantine, but you can have, essential people get in and out of the country. So he lives in Russia. He can get in and out. He's friends with the damn president, for Christ's sakes. He don't want to fight. So Dana's like, screw it, I'm getting an island. So actually, they put together a good fight. Justin Gaethje's fighting Tony Ferguson. It's going to be an all-out war, but I think Nurmagomedov he's ducking Ferguson.
Is John Bone Jones... See, this shows you how much I don't know, but is he anywhere near a fight?
Fucking no! That asshole can't get out of his own way to save his life. I mean, I was going through the timeline. He drunk hit and run a pregnant woman. Another hit and run where he hit somebody else, paid the fine. He then gets hit, not his fault, one time. The DUI, he just got caught. They took the gun in the casing, and he had weed and alcohol in the car. Like, he just got hit with 4 felonies. He is nowhere near even being reinstated. Last time, I think he was suspended for close to 2 years.
Yeah, and he has this substance that he took that stays in his system for years, right? Because they were
cheating.
He was technically failing drug tests, but still allowed to do it.
He was taking the drug that will hide the enhancers.
Yeah.
So he was taking extra creepy shit.
But apparently it stays in your body for a really long time. They were letting him actually fail drug tests, I think, but pass because that thing was in his system for so long.
You had a lot of the TRT.
It's that's how you know he's doing some strong shit.
Well, I mean, the UFC had an issue with the TRT, testosterone replacement therapy program. That's how they got in with USADA, and they start testing guys. I actually think it's actually backwards. I think he actually popped one time for something that is out of your system so fast, and it covers all the other enhancers. That's how stupid he is. So he knows the fight's coming up. You get a 5-day window. And then on top of it, he popped for coke. Doing some ripper magoos there before a freaking fight. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Idiot. Guy can't get out of his own way.
Well, as we keep just bringing up random topics, kind of, what do you... No, I love it. I'm bringing up another random one. So, Warm Weather Tom, Tom Brady, the new Tom Brady, kind of with his persona and everything like that, he's going to be going on the
Howard Stern show.
Howard Stern show, and I wonder if he's actually going to say something. You heard a little bit of backspat about him kind of saying thank you to everyone. He did something in the Players Tribune where he thanked everyone in the organization, left out somebody named Bill Belichick.
Yep.
A guy that usually you would encapsulate in something like that. And he knows that this is going to be talked about. So
for sure. And he also put in, he's excited for his new team so that he can be listened and heard.
Yes.
Oh, man, you just threw that dig. We all know who you're talking about.
See, what do you think of that? Do you like that move, or do you think it's kind of like being a diva? How does that move land with you?
I think he's been so politically correct, and he's been the premier do as you're supposed to do athlete that people look up to, right? I mean, you could probably look up Tom Brady someday, 100 years from now, in the dictionary, this is how to be a normal, good societal person. you know what I mean?
Do all the right things.
I try to do all the right things. I think he's saying the right thing, but I would love to be the fly on the wall. I think him and Bill probably had some heated discussions, but I also think they're both such professionals that when they have to come back, because he's not retiring his jersey in Tampa. He's going to retire it in Tampa Bay. They'll have a come-to-Jesus moment. I think they'll be fine because they're both good at what they do. That's why they're where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah, and, it's just funny, the opportunity to be seen and heard. I mean, what a shot at the Pats.
Yeah. That's a dig.
A
big one.
And it's funny because he's going to this guy who's win or lose we booze, Bruce Arians. That he's actually quoted as saying that. He's quoted as saying that.
Plays a lot of golf.
Apparently, is a guy that you can grab 9 holes with and a bunch of beers.
Yep.
And What do you think that's going to be like for Brady when he has to go to someone who isn't living and breathing football like 24/7? You think he's going to be like, oh, crap, this isn't New England?
Be honest with
Or
you?
do you think he's like, yes, I want someone who's hands off. I don't want to be going after perfection. I want to kind of do it my way.
I think Brady's one of those very, very, very rare athletes that it doesn't matter if that coach is 20 years older than him. He's teaching the coach. And I think he's been doing it long enough where his routine's down to a point where he's going to go do the OTAs from what I heard, which is great. I mean, he's going to show the face, whatever. Probably wants to get a little bit of the playbook. He probably already has it. He's probably already going over it. But I think, with him going down there, with everybody not being on the same page, he's like a fine-tuned machine, dude. I think he's been doing it so long. I mean, he's still going to put in the effort and stuff like that, like he always has, but I think you're not going to see a difference. I think you're going to see him go down there. He's going to be even more pissed off, like, okay, I got 2 years. I think that's the thing is, all of us that have seen this for so long, anyone that might be listening somewhere, we're excited to literally watch Tampa Bay games go, man, I hope he does this. Because the guy's just been awesome here. Like, anyone that doesn't like him here, the guy's giving his heart and soul, you're just not a fan.
So as hard as it is to say, do you think the Patriots did the right thing? You kind of see Brady being appeased in Tampa Bay. He got the money. He's getting kind of that treatment that he wanted. And the Patriots, they basically evaluated him as they do anyone else. We're not going to let a quarterback get bigger than the team. We're not going to pay him. He's worth X number. We're not going to pay above that. Now that it's all shaken out, how do you look at the way the Pats did business?
Man, I think you got four people you got to look at: Tom, Bill, Bob, and Jonathan. Right?
Yep.
Bob's getting older. Son's he's if not already making most of the decisions to take the team over. So he's got to look at his future because he's got another 30 years to go with the team or however old he is, whatever. So he's got to plan for that. Do you stick with the prodigal son? In that case, man, 20 years. I think I would have bit the bullet and given him the contract. You know what I mean? And I would have just sat him and Bill in a room and be like, listen, you're both here for 2 more years. Let's enjoy the last 2 and have at it. And I think that was one of Bill's things. I think Bill was going to go like, listen, if you're going to run it into the ground, I'm out.
Yeah, and I think
Jonathan has to. I think Bill's going to be around for a few more years than Josh thinks he might be.
I think there was a lot of fatigue on Brady's part because you heard that he had he seeked out Tampa Bay and was kind of like reaching out, almost cold calling, doing his own free agency work. And it was like he told Tampa Bay when they picked up the phone that they had a good chance to get him, or it was good that they called, or something was the quote.
Thank you for calling.
It's just interesting that Tom Brady, we thought this guy probably had an 8 to 10 team market, and he's getting everything that he wanted, but it's in Tampa Bay, and I just wonder if the Pats did the right thing. The number was so close, but I think it was just that they couldn't. I think the Pats did the best thing I guess they could do, because I would, if I had to, I would take Belichick over Brady.
You would?
I would, because you get like 6 to 7 more years out of him. You get him kind of grooming the next quarterback. You get a lot more than you get with Brady at this point. So I would probably give it up to Belichick. But God, I am pissed now that Brady is on the Bucs, and I don't get to see. Tom Brady, I think, made Belichick in a lot of ways.
That's
right.
I would have taken Brady.
So, but I'm just saying, over the next couple of years, I mean,
because you know what? Look at it.
Tom Brady's got 3 years left, where Belichick probably has 7.
Do you think he's got 7? I don't.
If he gets to find his guy and like groom his guy,
you think that's his thing? He's like, I gotta get another one.
I think so. I think he really wants to win one without Tom.
See, I look at it like this: when you look at the Tom and Bill argument, which we've had in this state to ad nauseum forever. We're going to continue to do it. You see all the other coaches. So you hear about Bill's coaching tree. The manager from the Falcons and the Browns. They went everywhere. What have they won?
Yeah.
What has Tom won? So, yeah, he's a great coach, but you need the great player to take to the coach. And those other coaches took to their coach, but they haven't won anything.
Yeah.
I think it's about Tom.
So do you put that on Belichick?
What? How good Tom is?
Just the guy's never none of his coaches like ever kind of doing anything?
No, I think he made them and they just never took. I think he has a seed he can put in people, and some people get it. Very few people get it, and I think Tom got it.
See, I think it's kind of like you can't just give anybody 6 championships. Like, Belichick could ask you to get naked and run 360s or whatever, and you'd be like, oh, this has got to be, Belichick could get you to do anything, whereas Matt Patricia tries to get the Lions to run in the summer, and they're all hating him, saying that he's going to run them out of town. So when you have 6 rings, I feel like you can do a lot more, and all these guys, they come in, they try to be Belichick, but they don't have 6 rings.
Kraft gave him the speed dial to the parlor, bro. It's in flood. That was an easy slam dunk on top of the guaranteed 20-25 mil that he got. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I would have done it.
Yeah.
Next.
So, it seems like, with the draft coming up, I guess, would you move up for Tua? Is that a consideration for you at all?
No.
I feel like some people think that he's such a talented guy that he might be worth moving up for. The injury's kind of coming along, and he's getting pretty good reports on it. I wouldn't trade up for him, but I feel like the Patriots, they haven't really professed their love to any particular quarterback.
Do they ever?
No, they don't.
Even when they love.
But it's not a very strong showing to go in with Stidham and Hoyer.
They're going to play him
unless they really love Stidham. Like, I'm okay with this as long as they really love Stidham. If Stidham is their guy, they want to go with him. But you had kind of heard that there were reports of forget that.
Stidham. You think he's going to play the first week?
Oh, so there were reports basically saying that he was going to, be more ready for the next year, and that a lot of people thought that the Pats were going to that Brady was going to kind of give them 1 year and then make them like fight for the next 2. And Brady decided to give him the middle finger and go out the door. But yeah.
You know what though? But he also showed you like the business side of what they deal with. He's like, we're getting to this is the business. Okay. Like, he was even just cutthroat at that. Oh, all right, cool. He tried for 2 years. I'll give the guy that. You got to give them that. He
did
tried.
everything he could.
So the fact that he actually cut them out, I was one of those people. I was like, God, we're going to suck this year. Yes!
The fact that he could even allow them to go 2 years is just like, he's so much stronger than anybody else. He wins that Super Bowl. They give him the incentive-laden contract, and he's got to beg for his supper. And it's just like unbelievable. The guys, what did you want? The guy plays 12 games. He's the MVP, wins the Super Bowl, and you're going to give him an incentive-laden contract? It's just...
it was very tacky.
It's tough business.
Well, we were lucky that we had him for 20.
Yeah.
I will never see that in our lifetime again. I won't see that. There's not going to be a quarterback that's come on the next 20 years that's going to win 6-7 times while I'm alive. Unless Sonic the Hedgehog flies out of the sky or something like that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I saw him hovering. It's possible. I guess, let's see. I heard that, for the last minute or here, I heard that a Bronx Zoo tiger tested positive for the coronavirus. Did you hear anything on that?
No, but Joe Exotic did.
Did he really? Go ahead.
I did hear that the tiger in the Bronx Zoo tested positive for coronavirus. And if you were about to ask, how did the tiger get that was my question as well.
Yes,
because I heard that too. But animals can't get it, right? But then
no. And it's definitely dogs have gotten it, cats have gotten
There's
it.
So much misinformation.
Which I can, a dog or a cat being in a house with somebody who's sick. Yeah, and dogs and cats can get the common flu.
I didn't
but
even
how
know
the
that.
hell did that tiger get? Although probably it was being fed by somebody who was infected.
Yeah. Or maybe someone had sex with it. Who knows?
Exactly.
No.
Did you see the meme?
Well, actually, it's not sexually transmitted.
There's a meme I'll share later. My wife sent it to me. I couldn't stop laughing. I'm sorry. And it was Elmo, There's the puppet Elmo, and a guy has his hand. It's a hand puppet, and it's got like a meme, and it's like the Joe Exotic thing, like tiger cruelty.
Which I did watch, by the way.
It's awesome.
It's pretty
tiger
nice.
cruelty to animals, and then you see like underneath his arm another Elmo just standing there. It's like, and people wondering where you can buy a tiger for $2,000. It's like, yeah, you can buy a tiger for $2,000 and then do all the effed up stuff. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Go nuts.
Everybody's already talked about it. It's fucking. It left me with my jaw dropped, but I don't want to get off track.
Well, that is going to do it for us here on an edition of Open Season.
We can't leave with that. We can't leave with that.
We have to.
Okay.
Or we could talk about the NFL All-Decade team.
Yep.
Is there anybody that surprised you? I was a little bit surprised that Chandler Jones made it.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of Pats on the team.
He was good, though, while he was here.
Rob Gronkowski, Logan Mankins, Tom Brady, Chandler Jones, Darrelle Revis, Steven Gostowski, Cordarrelle Patterson.
They let him go, too. Cordell Patterson?
Kick returner.
You shit me for the Vikings all those years?
Yeah. And for us.
Yeah.
And Belichick. Belichick and Pete Carroll was the other one.
Cordell Patterson?
That's how far the coaching disparity is.
What about Devin Hester? I remember him.
Devin Hester made it.
Did he really?
He made it.
There you go. I'll give him for a kick returner.
Yeah. Darren Sproles made it in 2 spots. Punt returner and
Running
flex.
Did he really? Flex?
I don't really
It
know
was a
what flex
horrible flex play on fantasy sports forever.
Unless you count kicking return yards.
Which they don't.
Who were the running backs?
The running backs were Frank Gore, Marshawn Lynch, LaShawn McCoy, and Adrian Peterson.
I was going to say AP is going to be on there.
Adrian Peterson was unanimous.
Marshawn Lynch?
Marshawn Lynch.
No.
Frank Gore had the consistency, but, I mean, LaShawn McCoy, put him up there.
Yeah.
He was kind of like
I think
he's
that,
a real back.
Once you get past those 4, who had any at the running back
it's tough
position,
to even sustain for a
Yeah,
decade.
exactly. I mean, look at what just happened with Todd Gurley.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I think that worked. So who was at the wide receiver position? You said
Wide
Calvin Johnson
receiver.
was one of them.
Yep. Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones.
Yep. I'll take
Pretty
those.
tough to beat.
I'm still out on Marshawn Lynch, though. I don't think he was one of the best.
Yeah, I don't think he was either. But when you probably look at the decade, I bet he was.
Who was that guy for the Houston Texans that was lights out for 4 years before he blew his knee?
Arian Foster.
Arian Foster.
Yeah.
Or I thought you were going to say Dominic Davis.
No.
Remember him? Like
No.
the first days with Derek Carr?
I would have
Or
taken
David Carr.
him over Lynch.
But I think you've gotten more out of Lynch. Maybe not maybe not the same peak, but more.
He was consistent.
More consistency.
He was like
longer
1,200 yards and like 7 to 10 touchdowns.
10, 12
or so.
touchdowns.
Skittles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arian Foster, certainly, if he had done 1 or 2 more seasons at his
If he didn't blow that knee out, he
would
was like trucking.
He was good.
What about
Yeah.
Chris, the guy who broke
He
the
scored so many touchdowns.
Chris Johnson?
Same
Chris
deal.
Johnson.
2 years. He had 2 years of being.
What
insanely
about
good.
Priest Holmes, if we're going to do this?
Okay.
Remember him? He used to score 24.
Kansas City, yeah. And he used
He
to have
was
like
so good that year.
85 yards a season. He would just punch in at the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
I put Priest Holmes though more in the 2000s.
Yeah, he probably made it for the 2000s, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know.
What about
He might have been on that.
We
decade
just started
2000.
talking about juicy backs.
Who's
and
kicker?
Who's the kicker? Gostowski and Tucker.
Justin Tucker, yeah.
Yeah. So,
There you go. Any other?
how's that? Is that a good way to end it?
Yeah. There wasn't another quarterback for NFL, so there was only one, right?
Oh, it was Aaron Rodgers.
He's such a tool. I just can't. He's a good football player. I just can't like him. Like when he talks,
God,
I'm
he's
like,
impossible to like.
it's insufferable.
Yeah, he looks like
Even
he
his own
always has
family
like
can't
a
stand him.
grump on his face too.
Yeah,
and-
it's like I'm so glad they're doing the transfer from him to Mahomes because that's all it is. It's like get the hell off the screen.
I know he is like not the superstar that the NFL wants.
No.
But anywho,
Roger that.
we are no longer the show that is on air. We are we are checking out for Brian, for Sean Carnell of Evolve Network, and myself. We will check you out next week, hopefully. All right, bye.
That's off. Thank you.
I'm just not sure that Kyler Murray is big enough. This is Tom Brady. He's not just going to retire. Whitey, big fan of the show. Appreciate I've got Brian Murphy to my left, making sure everything's smooth, crispy, buttery. James Harden is systematically ruining the game of basketball. He's the most overrated player. And there you are, the Chicago Bears with a championship defense. And Mitch, I'm sure Dancing with the Stars is happy to have Antonio back. If you thought you were going to get Zion, that's your bad.